Welcome, everyone, to the latest edition of Talented Universe on what day of the week? It's Wednesday, May 14th, 2025. So thank you, everyone, for coming. I'm going to first say hi to my co-host, and then we're going to introduce our special guest for today. Marcia, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. I'm looking forward to this interview, live chat with our guests.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. Who is Evan Gambardella? How's that?
I told him to do that for anybody.
Yeah. Oh, no, they just think I'm crazy anyway. Don't worry about it. But like to welcome you. And we were just talking beforehand. He asked me, how did you find me? And I said, well, I saw that you were on some vertical dramas. So I'm going to ask the question we ask all of our vertical drama people.
Sure.
But since you are kind of new at it, I'm kind of interested to see how you're going to answer this question.
Okay. Hit me.
Okay. In your own words, how would you describe a vertical drama?
Whoa.
Fast. Everybody's answer has been different.
There's a lot of different ways I describe. One is fast because the turnaround for making it is so quick. Usually there's only 1 to 3 takes tops that you get. And that's with many projects, but especially with verticals, this last one I did, most of the time was just 1 take. So very fast. You have to be on your game all the time. And a vertical, I guess that's the process, but an actual vertical drama, I would say, is a movie on your phone in episodic format. So rather than watching a full movie on your TV screen, you are watching tiny little episodes, maybe a minute and a half long, with a hook at the end of each one to get you to keep watching, that make up a full movie, but you're watching it as though it were a TV show and swiping up instead of just sitting back in your couch in a recliner.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to ask a couple of questions from the chat room to get us started, and then I'm going to go to Marcia. So Arc54 asks, I know you have dealt with anxiety and trauma in the past. Because of that, you created Train Your Brain. Can you explain more about how it and how it works?
Sure. So I've just, as you mentioned, I've only done a couple of verticals, and I'm pretty new to this world. Just this year, in the last 2 months, it's been an amazing experience. But my work primarily is as a hypnotist, and that work came about because of a mental health journey with me dealing with my own, as the commenter mentioned, anxiety, depression, PTSD that was coming up, and me feeling out of control in my life as a result of what happened to me. Because of the work that I did in therapy, as well as training with this hypnotist as his apprentice, I was able to identify what my PTSD was that I was suppressing and keeping down. I was able to understand how the mind works, which is something that is pretty simple to understand in a nutshell. It's not rocket science to me. And the concepts that I was able to learn with this man helped me to work on myself. And as a result, I was able to write a Me Too statement. I was sexually assaulted when I was younger. And other boys came forward talking about this man doing what he did to me, to them as well, over the course of 50 years around the country. And I then had to go to court, and I used self-hypnosis on myself in the courtroom. I'd already been to court, and then they dropped the case. But then when the Me Too statement came out again, they brought it back up. So I used it for about 3 years in and out of the courtroom. In total, I was in court for 9 years trying to get this guy in jail for what he did to me.
Oh my!
It was a big chunk of my life. And when people say, I don't want to relive my trauma, it's true. That's why most people that are victims of sexual assault or any kind of crime for that matter don't want to go into the courtroom process, because it's arduous. It's not fair to the victims. And it's incredibly painful to have to relive your experience, not only to tell it to a group of strangers that are just doing their jobs, they don't really have a personal stake in it necessarily. I don't want to put that judgment on them, but that's how it sometimes felt and came across to me.
Mm-hmm.
But also because I'm doing it in front of the man who did it to me. He's like right there in the room.
Can't imagine.
So it's incredibly hard to do. And it was one of the hardest things it was the hardest thing I ever had to do in my life. But self-hypnosis was what got me through that process. And when people started to realize what I was doing, they'd reach out to me to ask me to hypnotize them. And I said, no, I'm trying to be an actor. I was trained as an actor. I went to school for acting. I'm just got certified as a hypnotist. This is just for me to make an extra buck, because I was working as a magician at the time too. It was like, I can enhance my magic show. I can make it more interesting. So I had major imposter syndrome that it just worked on me. And then this woman came to me really desperate. She was a victim of rape. She wanted to get pregnant, but she kept getting triggered anytime somebody touched her. And I hypnotized her, and I didn't think anything was going to come of it. 6 months later, I get an email saying she's pregnant.
Wow.
So this stuff really works. And that's not a testament to my abilities, okay? It's really simple, and everyone is hypnotizing themselves, and everyone else. We just don't call it hypnosis. We call it being on our phones and watching TV and having a conversation. So it's rethinking the way we describe what hypnosis is. So Train Your Brain came about after I started performing my hypnosis show. I was still going back to Boston to testify in court against this man. His name's Al Chase. And I'd fly into Boston, but then there was one night in Indiana, I was called a faggot on the way to my car. I was really upset and just felt really unsafe. Like I was surrounded by these group of guys I was just walking in my car doing nothing, just wearing a t-shirt and jeans. And then I go inside, and I remember there was this room of very young folks that were probably under the age of like maybe 9 to 13. And then there were some really old folks too that were there that were well over 70 or maybe in their 80s. And there were all walks of the political spectrum. You had people with blue hair and people with MAGA hats. There was everybody there in this place in Indiana. Mm-hmm. And I just was really upfront. I was like, guys, I have to be honest with you. Hypnosis is saving me right now. I'm about to go testify in front of against a pedophile tomorrow. And I really want to show you how amazing this work is, and not do my typical show where I just make you laugh. I want to show you how amazing and therapeutic this work is. First time I ever did that. And I didn't think I was ever going to work there again, but then a line formed out the door of people not saying just thank you for sharing your story, thank you for being so vulnerable with us. It was people like, I am suicidal and I don't know what to do. I'm anxious. My sister was kidnapped and we've been looking for her for 20 years. I had somebody in California tell me once, my mother was murdered by my father and I witnessed it. Now I'm going to court. How do I deal with this? So the amount of pain in the country, and I performed in almost every state in the country now at this point with my hypnosis show. And I got to tell you, like the amount of the vulnerability that I put out there begets vulnerability from other people. And I was just blown away by it. It didn't matter what your political ideology was. Everybody's got something going on. Everybody's in pain, and no wonder the world is the way it is, because it's still taboo to talk about it. So Train Your Brain, I know this is a really long-winded answer. I just want to give context to it. Train Your Brain came about as an answer to that. It's like, okay, well, I'm doing 5 minutes of therapeutic hypnosis at the end of my show. What if I took that 5 minutes and I expanded it into 45 minutes and I just did a therapeutic hypnosis session with a group of people? They'd lie down, they're not performing, and we'd get to see what the benefits are. And, I've done this now, in most states around the US, and people have commented that they're able to work on challenges like school shooting trauma, addiction, anxiety. I had somebody recently tell me that they called up a friend of theirs that they were in an argument with, and then they got over their argument together after he was hypnotized. So it's an amazing testament to the power of the mind and how the imagination works. And simply by using the imagination, which is all something we have access to, how much healing can be done. I mean, even Einstein said that. Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge. Why would Einstein say something like that? He's a really smart guy, a lot smarter than me. He's a really smart guy. Why would he say something like that? It's because if you know everything in the world, but you don't know how to control your imagination and allow it to run amok, you're going to be a victim to your anxious thinking and anxious thoughts, and you're going to have a pretty miserable life as a result, living in that prison of your mind. Mm-hmm. So that's how it came about, and basically what it is a 45-minute therapeutic hypnosis session. I do a little bit of a lecture at the beginning, just explaining the process, making sure that nobody thinks it's mind control, because hypnosis is not mind control. It's not voodoo or magic or anything like that. It's very much not like the movies, even though the movies are really fun how they depict it. Hypnosis is much more out there. It's happening to us every day. I'd actually argue that most people are in a state of trance than not, because they're on their phones so often. All it is I hypnotize people for 45 minutes. It can be as general as we want. Sometimes it's really specific. During the Asian hate movement, Rutgers hired me to come in to do an Asian hate specific trauma, working on people's trauma in that regard with the hypnosis. So it really depends on the group, but it's all about the therapeutic side, no entertainment. The show is entertainment, but from a therapeutic angle. So that's the difference.
Wow. Well, getting off that quick subject, and I'm going to ask one more question, then I'm going to go to Marcia. I wanted the Max Amount asked, please tell how you managed to get on Saturday Night Live. And was it more than once?
It was more than once. I think I've been on 4 or 5 times, I want to say. It was just background work. It was not like I was a host. I was not a cast member. I got to do really fun things on there. It's not normal background work because it's live and there's a lot more responsibility put on that smaller group of background actors. But it's still background work, It's not like I was.
Yeah, and you were on Saturday Night Live. How's that?
Yeah, and I was on Saturday Night Live. That was really cool, and it's cool to interact with the cast members. A lot of them are great and just so talented, and to see how they work and see how the hosts come in and how just seeing everything come up and just seeing how it works backstage. And I think one of the best parts of that show is getting from one scene to the other and just seeing how everything kind of flies, because it's just set next to set, next to set, next to set. You can see it when they kind of cut to commercial. They kind of do a little bit of
they go back a little bit on
but just being there and seeing it live and like seeing, oh yeah, Alec Baldwin's in the hallway, like rehearsing his trumpet, being like, thank you very much for coming. It's just a great energy, a great vibe. It's a really fun experience. And how did I get on is because a friend of mine was in the background pool, knew the casting director, said they were looking for people to be in a high school prom sketch or something, I think it was. And it's like, oh, you could pass for high school. So it's like, okay, here's your contact. Emailed them, sent them a picture, and that was history.
Wow, cool. Marcia, go right ahead.
Wow. I had a lot of fun researching you, actually, and looking into your acting and the verticals. Now, Hulkling and Wiccan, is that considered a vertical as well, or?
Yeah, it was kind of
Marvel character. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's both, I guess. Wiccan is a Marvel character. A friend of mine named Nathaniel was the creator of this, essentially. He came to me wanting to do a photo shoot, and dressed up as Hulkling, asked me to be Wiccan, and it was just supposed to be that. And I was like, well, we're actors. Why don't we make this into a sketch? Why don't we actually expand this and record it? So we started bouncing ideas back and forth, flew out to Vegas, got this a couple of different places to film in, and a great team, a really small but great team to go there for a couple of days. And we just shot a 7-episode series of what we wanted to see from the Marvel universe. The Agatha All Along had not come out yet. There was a lot of backlash against queerness in Disney entertainment. And we were like, well, we think this is a great story. We would like this to be told. And that's why we did it. It is a vertical. It was filmed horizontally, but many verticals were filmed horizontally as well. Like the last one, a couple ones ago, I did His Nerd was also filmed horizontally. So that's not uncommon. What we ended up doing was shifting it to vertical format because we realized most people were watching on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and that's you can actually see more on your screen than this.
Yeah.
So it was just a matter of cropping it and making it fit in there.
So, well, you mentioned his nerd, which was another vertical that you've done, and your character is kind of not very nice
An
to.
asshole. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's kind of fun to play that kind of character from time to time.
Marcia, I'm figuring out, and this is a recent thing that I think I'm just accepting, but looking back, it's always been there. That's my type. And I don't see myself that way IRL, but that's what the universe has kind of thrown me into. When I graduated college, I was cast in Assassins as Balladeer and Lee Harvey Oswald. So I became an assassin who killed a president. The last show I did at BU, where I went to school, was Columbinus, where I played a school shooter, Eric Harris.
Wow.
Some of the work that I did out of college in film was Pandora's Box, where I played a real person who was a teenager who was corrupted and then ended up murdering somebody. I played a guy who kidnapped a woman, raped her, a guy who his nerd was a bully and a drug dealer. The last one I did, which is Divorced at the Wedding, also a guy who's beating up this woman. I don't want to give anything away, but like does a lot of terrible things to this woman. It's much worse than what I just described. I think that was the most like violent character I've ever played in my life. So that's
there you go.
The base is a violent killer, rapist, murderer. Yeah, and I'm about to film next week a horror flick as the bad guy. Again, I don't want to give anything away, but I will be playing the villain in that as well. So,
do you enjoy playing the villain, or do you wish you'd get a little more niceness in a character once in a while?
I like range. So as long as that muscle is being exercised in me, then I'm happy. And most of the time villains are that, because I have to find the redeeming qualities about them to do a good performance. And and that's really important. I have to find the ways that I am like them. It is the ultimate exercise in empathy, right? If I can't like the guy, then it's going to be a two-dimensional performance, and no one's going to really care about this guy. It's like, oh, he's just a bad guy. And I always learn a little something about myself. I tend to have to do much deeper work on Evan and kind of be more honest with myself. Like, okay, like let's be honest about me and how I'm kind of like this guy. Not
how you're pulling it out of you.
But like the bad habits of just being mean sometimes, or being selfish, or you know what I mean? Like I'm not.
No, I do.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's just kind of weird how that's happened. I would like to play the good guy sometimes. I'm a funny guy. I think I'm a funny guy. I don't know. Like I've played a lot of funny guys in sketches that I've done with friends or projects. I mean, I love SNL. Like that's my kind of. I was Puck in A Midsummer Night's Dream with Tina Packer. So that to me is like my bread and butter. I love comedy. So like roles like that, I think are great. But as long as I'm doing my range and exploring that, then I'm happy.
Then you're happy. Well, do you have another one, Marcia?
Well, just to tag on the verticals, you mentioned Divorce at the Wedding. Some of these titles are really hysterical. Like, really?
Yeah. Yeah, and look, I got to be honest with you. When I started doing verticals, I had a conversation with my roommate, Danny Madden. He's such a great guy, and I was like, Danny, like, I don't know if I want to jump into this vertical world. Like, I'm a theater trained actor. The verticals seem a little bit like weird. The titles seem weird. The writing sometimes is pretty like out there, and I was judgmental. I was very, very judgmental. And what he says, like, it's paid practice. Just go for it and give it a whirl. And I have learned so much from these experiences as an actor, as a collaborator, just not feeling as green on set. Cause I am, I've only been on now, 4 or 5 sets at this point, besides SNL, which was there frequently. So it's been a great learning experience for me as I start getting back into this world again after being out of it for so long while I was in court. And I just, yes, it's silly. And yes, it's so ridiculous. But this last one, for example, I had to have I don't want to give it away. And I think I signed an NDA, so I definitely can't give it away. But there's a moment
get in trouble,
there's a moment where my character gets so, it's written in that I'm distraught and I'm begging for my life, essentially. I'm like, please. There's a way to do that melodramatically, and just kind of, and there's also a way to do it realistically and actually accept the given imaginary circumstances that are utterly ridiculous, but actually taking them in as true. And when doing that, it was one of the best exercises I've ever done as an actor, because it was like, these stakes are so ridiculous. They're so out there. This would never happen in reality, but also that's many stories that are told, right?
Yes. How many times do you run across a billionaire? You know,
on verticals, every other one,
every other show.
Yeah. I kind of, this is going to sound really ridiculous, but the exercise of trying to make sense of some of the vertical scripts, very difficult. A lot of the writing is not, it doesn't really make sense. Like,
well, do you know why that is, though?
I
can tell you why.
Yeah, you tell me.
A lot of the earlier scripts were because China started
Chinese,
first.
right?
And so a lot of them, the scripts were adapted from those scripts, and they translated them literally.
Right.
And so and they have different things over there. I mean, we've had a couple of actors that had been in it for a while, and they said the ones that are translated, sometimes you just kind of go, huh? What is that? That makes no sense at all. But It has some inside joke or whatever related to China that we don't understand.
Right.
I mean, it's, same kind of thing. If you don't understand jokes in another country, and you're just going, what? It's the same kind of thing. But what I have noticed, and I'm sure you're noticing, some of the newer scripts that are written specifically for the United States or English-speaking countries are very different.
Very different.
They're very different than what those other scripts were. Yeah. And I'm very excited about that. I mean,
me too.
I stumbled across verticals in November, and I contacted my first vertical actor to be on the show in November. He didn't get on until February because he was so busy.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And he went to China for a month. And it was like, wow.
Yeah. The amount of work this has given people is astounding. I had interacting with people on set and realizing how often they were working and how much now opportunities given to me now. I'm like, oh my God, this could be a full-time job.
Yeah, that's what I found with the other people that we've talked to. I mean, and it's great. I mean, it's content, it's experience, good on the resume. And all I can say
stories,
is,
like you said, are getting better. Sorry to interrupt you, but the stories are getting better.
Oh, we interrupt each other all the time on the show, so don't worry about it. We just jump in, don't we, Marcia?
We do,
yes.
we do.
We march and go whatever we want to do. But let me get to one of the other questions before I totally go off the rails. Do you often find people who are skeptical when it comes to hypnosis, and how do you make them believers? Also, are you coming to North Carolina? North Carolina, or as they like to be called, Northern California people. Oh, she's going to get me for that. Anytime soon?
I have no plans to come to NoCal anytime soon, but I am there at least 3 or 4 times a year, I'd say. So it will be
visiting or doing a show.
Both. Probably. I've performed there a couple of times for shows, usually like 2 or 3 times a year, and then the other time I'm just visiting friends there. So I love it up there. So no plans yet, but there will be plans because usually these shows book out a few weeks in advance, maybe, if that, maybe a couple of months, but it all depends on the venue. That question was, how do I make them believers?
Yes.
Okay. I hypnotize them. That's how I make them believers. I don't need people to believe in hypnosis to be hypnotized. If you're on your phone and you get sucked into whatever it is you're watching and you are scrolling and you're like this and you forget, oh, I'm just going to go on here for 3 minutes, then 3 hours go by, you have literally been hypnotized. So I don't need to explain it. I just hypnotize them if they're willing to be hypnotized. If they're not, of course, then that's a different conversation. Mm-hmm. But I think just explaining hypnosis is enough as well. I don't actually have to hypnotize them. That was a clever answer for me, but like I can just explain it too. And the easy answer is, what is anxiety? Anxiety is, in the simplest terms I can think of, imagination mingled with bad memory. And if you think about that for a second, you have something really bad happened to you in your past. That impacts the nervous system physically as though it actually were happening. Just like if you think of something delicious and it's not there, you get hungry and start to salivate. You think of somebody attractive and you get hungry and start to salivate. You know, thoughts impact us physically all the time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They don't have to be there for it to impact us. Our nervous system cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is imagined. It's why when we're watching a vertical or we're watching a movie or whatever, our heart rate goes up, our blood pressure goes up by what we're watching, from what we're watching. It doesn't have to actually exist. We know consciously it's not really happening, but we're still scared of a horror movie, right? Right. So when we're thinking of something bad that happened to us in the past, you mingle that with your imagination to make it 10 times worse. Sometimes you don't even need the imagination to make it 10 times worse. It just is as bad as it actually is. And you play that on that TV screen in your mind, that impacts your nervous system and gives you anxiety, which is why every single person has a different anxious symptom. It could be headaches or nausea, passing out, high blood pressure, higher heart rate, whatever, you name it. And the reverse of anxiety is mingling imagination with a good memory or a good thought. So what do you call that? What do you call it when you think of yourself on the beach, sinking your toes into the sand, and you're imagining somebody that you love and who loves you back being there to support you and holding you when you're feeling really scared and unsafe, and you need that protection, you need that comfort? That is hypnosis. Hypnosis is the art and practice of sculpting your imagination rather than it sculpting you. So you can get physical benefits that are intentional rather than allowing the imagination to run amok and give you anxiety. It is also the ultimate acting exercise. I was self-hypnotizing myself on set with Divorced at the Wedding. You know, there were, in that moment where I had to have these really high stakes that were so cockamamie and crazy that were totally outlandish, I created a physical anchor, which is the reverse engineer of a trigger. A trigger is something happens to you either physically, verbally, external force triggering trauma symptoms in you. So I reverse engineer that and said, rather than it triggering something traumatic, every time I bring my forefinger and thumb together, I drop in instantly into the given imaginary circumstances. And it was huge for me. It was the first time I incorporated hypnosis into my acting in that way. It worked really well. I mean, the whole room applauded after my take. I'd say that was a pretty successful, you know.
Unless they ruined the take while they were.
So maybe that, you know, maybe I screwed it all up, but
who knows?
I think hypnosis is why I love it so much. It's like the ultimate acting exercise. You're dropping in to using the imagination in ways that are very dreamlike, to affect your body physically in a way that is intentional. And for acting, it can be to get you into a really emotional place, but in your real life, in reality, it's really helpful to practice that so that when moments come that are super stressful, you can instantly drop that in and be like, I'm okay. I'm going to be all right in this moment.
Now, I'm really upset with the max amount because they just stole my question.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So I'm putting it up. What is your favorite balloon animal to make? And what is the hardest?
Hey, I had that question too.
Well, there you go. See? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a balloon artist. I've been doing it since I was 4 years old. I got a little book, and I spent 2 hours making a balloon dog, and I pumped like tiny little hand pump My hands were so tiny. It took me 2 hours to make this dog. It takes me less than 10 seconds now to make that same dog. My favorite
amazing.
balloon animal to make is one that I've never made before. And that's what I like to be challenged to do. I'm about to do Pride New York City at the end of June. Again, that's my second year doing that. And typically people ask me for, I love making rainbows and strippers on poles as hats, and I can get super lewd and super cute. Like I made an otter recently, and that was amazing because I'd never made an otter before. So somebody asked for an otter in a river holding a stone. Super specific, right? So I made that, and I just felt really good about it. It felt really cute. Also, it's just a great challenge for me. It's like, I can make literally anything out of balloons. I just have to exercise my imagination in a different way rather than hypnotizing myself or acting. I'm making something. And I'm currently working on a screenplay right now about a balloon artist too. So that's also exciting to me too. It gives me inspiration for that.
I just want to say one more thing before I go back to Marcia. We have a couple of likes on Facebook. Elizabeth Olivia Cooper, thank you. And Francis Pease, thank you very much.
Oh, Fran Pease!
Friend of yours.
Yes, family friend. Hi, Fran Pease.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Marcia, go ahead. Since your balloon question was gone like mine was, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested in how you ground yourself. Yes, there's so much emotional energy coming towards you, I imagine, in your hypnosis performances and connectivity with other people, which you got to enjoy because you do it and you get something out of it. But does that require you to do special things in your personal life to make sure that you're ready for that?
Yeah. It's really hard. I'm not going to be, I mean, like I said before, when you're thinking of something on that TV screen in your mind, it's impacting you physically as though it actually were happening. The nervous system can't tell the difference. So when I'm hypnotizing somebody, I'm doing an acting exercise where I'm literally putting myself in their situation, seeing what they describe to me, actually imagining what that's like and having that impact my body, noticing where that is, and then creating a script to help them navigate through it, using the imagination to help them navigate it through it. That's training. It's any kind of work like that, whether it's acting, hypnosis, etc. It's emotionally draining. So I have to find ways to ground myself. I just told you before this meeting, I was in therapy. The therapist is amazing. And we were talking about grounding exercises I can do. I just rolled my ankle playing Frisbee. I was like, what can I do that's not like as much as exercise? Because exercise is super important to me. And I love using that as a way to help ground myself and boost my serotonin after an emotionally draining exercise, whatever that is. So a lot of breath work. I love that. There's also a lot of apps that I use for binaural beats and music created by neuroscientists to help keep me focused or grounded or relaxed. There's different types of meditations. I have a really great group of friends that one just sent me a meditation on forgiveness that is beautiful. Ram Dass, like reading beautiful philosophers and thinkers that are much more wise than me, to sort of stand on their shoulders and that grounds me a lot. Also creating. I've been loving writing. I'm in a great writing group right now, a couple of writing groups and classes to help me write the screenplay that eventually I'd like to be in. I'm writing it for myself selfishly. I'm like, that's been really grounding too and exciting just to like be in that process and be creative. And beyond that, I'd say nature as well is a way that I ground myself, just being outside, making sure I get sunlight. And if it's cloudy out, then I still go outside, and also disconnecting from, it's funny I said that word because it's not really what I meant. I said disconnecting in regards to getting off of social media. I think we talked about that before we went live. Actually, it's funny. My therapist said this too. The real work is on your own inner connection with yourself. It's actually not disconnecting. It's connecting. And I think I use social media. And I think I meet a lot of people that use social media in this way, where we use it to disconnect from ourselves, to look for external validation or external sources of dopamine hits. We get a 400% spike in dopamine every time we get a notification on our phone. That's why we check our phones compulsively.
Just 400? That's it?
It's just 400. Yeah, it's pretty low.
Oh.
So
I'm upset now.
We can make it 5 for you. How about that?
Oh, good. Yeah, that's much better.
Just for Michael. It's 500. Yeah, those are some ways I ground myself, and I'm always open and learning to do more. But it's and I don't do it successfully. Like, it's a journey. It's a toolbox approach. I'm just trying things. Some days these things work. Some days these things don't work, and other things work. It all depends. But I'd say that the biggest things are connecting with myself, and also connecting with people that I really love and trust, friends, family. That grounds me as well too.
That is cool. Do you
Wonderful.
think?
Thank you.
Do you think that? Well, then let me put it another way. You're doing a lot of different things right now. It sounds like ballooning. Let's call it ballooning. Frisbee, hypnotism, verticals. What right at this point? Which takes up most of your time? And even something that I didn't even mention.
It depends on the week.
Oh, that bad. Okay.
It's
Okay.
really.
If you don't have a vertical scheduled to shoot, then what is that might be easier. Then what
Great. Okay.
are the tops?
When I don't have a vertical to shoot, like last week was creating multiple hypnosis recordings for private clients of mine to listen to on their own time. That was last week. This week has been writing my screenplay, and recovering from my ankle. That's been really hard. I'm not a still person, so that's been really a good challenge. I guess I roll my eyes because I don't like it, but it's a good challenge for me, I guess. I love Pilates and yoga and being active in whatever way, shape, and form, hiking, meeting new people, connecting. So if I'm not doing a vertical, it's probably like getting all my like at home work done. Like, oh yeah, I have to like clean my room and like do my laundry and like catch up on all that crap, because it's really hard to do that when you're doing a vertical because you're working 12-hour days.
Or more, what I understand from some people.
Say what?
Even more than that, more than 12 hours, some people have told me.
Right. Yeah, it can be more. So thankfully I haven't had one of those days yet.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, not yet. We'll see. But it really depends. And then sometimes I'm working on a magic show and I'm creating that. Sometimes I'm doing a balloon twisting gig. Like I'm getting ready to do that in New York. Like I said, I'm planning to fly to Hawaii in a couple of weeks for a hypnosis show. So I'm getting ready for that. Oh
yeah, you're not busy at all. I don't know how you have time to do any acting at all, personally, but
oh, and auditioning, that takes up a lot.
Oh, I didn't want to mention that.
Yeah, that's like a huge part of this, right? Because we talk about all the verticals that people do. What about the auditioning? Like once you're in the world of verticals, I know a lot
easier.
Of now, you're just getting cast without even auditioning, and that's really nice
because they know you. They know you.
Yeah, they know you, and they know you don't have the time to film an audition for them. If they see your work, it's like that's
you
good
want
enough.
me? Well, then you can take me.
But, exactly.
Yeah.
But
are you looking forward to that happening to you? I
am. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope it does. That would be really nice, and I would like that to happen. But comfortable with it not happening. I have to it's not within my control. Just got to do the best work I can and hope that, people want to work with me and they like me, But in the meantime,
you're based in LA, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You're based in LA. Yeah. Okay. Have you been invited to that vertical convention they're going to do yet?
No, I didn't even know about that. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I think it's March, isn't it? September.
September, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's end of Verticon. But it's new one.
Yeah, the end of September in LA. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'd be interested in going.
Yeah, they have to be invited though. But
so I'm not cool enough yet.
Well, I think you're getting there. So you're on our show, so you'll be cool. So there you
Thanks, Michael.
go. If you're not doing that, do you have any TV shows, films that you're into, series? Do you read a lot, or you got too much other stuff to do?
I mean, again, it depends on the day. I do love all those things you mentioned. My roommate has the most amazing taste in movies, so a lot of like older movies he'll put on just to like inspire him, because he's a writer, director, filmmaker. So I'll just like watch stuff with him, just be like really wowed by it. I'm reading Giovanni's Room right now, by James Baldwin. Beautiful writing. Oh my God, that writing is like it's beautiful. I don't know if either of you have ever read it before this. It's just,
I have not, no.
I read one page like 5 times over and over again just because of how beautiful the writing is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's just really beautiful. I love reading self-help books just to see how different people talk about the same thing, you know, just different vocabulary for it. And I love listening to podcasts as well. I try to stay informed as much as I can. I think I've noticed that the news can be something that negatively impacts my nervous system. So it's like, how much of that can I take while also not being totally disconnected and being totally misinformed? Because I don't want that either. It's like just finding that balance. That's a challenge for everybody, I think. I think now, yeah. And then, and TV shows, it's funny. This is not really a TV show house because it's a movie house. And I think TV shows, my problem is if I watch one episode, I'll watch like 2 or 3, and then like 3 hours have gone by. I'm like, well, I could have watched a movie. And now I have to watch 10 more episodes, or 7 more episodes of the series now, and I don't want to stop watching. I want to know what happens, and I got that blue light, in my face, and like I could just keep watching all day. And
you'd rather not do that. Okay.
I'd rather not, but I love it. Like I love the shows that I've watched, but movies I think are more my jam right now. I go through phases. Sometimes it's TV, sometimes it's movies. I love watching Planet Earth, to be honest. That's like talk about grounding. Planet Earth season 3, episode 2, Oceans. Oh my God. Beautiful.
Did you want to have an ocean view from your place after that, or?
I would love an ocean view if I didn't love my neighborhood right here. I'm on the east side of LA and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. The only con is that there's no ocean, but I love the ocean. But I love the east side of LA. Atwater Village is my home. I can't complain.
Well, that's good. Before we wrap up, because we'll try to get it under an hour if I can, which I'm trying to do that. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up that we didn't cover, or make announcements on where you're going to be that you're allowed to talk about? Things like that.
Let's see. There were a couple of questions on here that weren't.
Oh, you wanted to go to, okay.
Yeah, sure. I can just answer them really quick.
Okay, that's it. Hi, Evan. I know you play the trumpet. What is your favorite genre of music to play? Big band, swing, jazz, modern rock, or whatever?
So my main instrument is actually playing the French horn.
Ooh, okay.
And I also studied djembe in Cape Town, South Africa. So that to me is like I like to go to this little drum circle here in LA every Sunday night in South LA, and oh my gosh, I just discovered it's like so healing and meditative. That's another grounding thing I like to do. But jazz swing groups, I don't know if this really counts, but oh my gosh, I think my favorite would be favorite song would be What Is Hip for jazz. I played that in high school a lot. That was super fun. I think, what is the There's So Much Oil in the Ground. I don't know. These are songs I'm talking about, not musical groups, and I'm struggling with looking up right now as we're talking. Let's see.
She always asks difficult questions. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's oh, who is, you know this person?
Yeah, she's one of my other co-hosts.
Oh, cool.
And,
okay, awesome.
And she couldn't come today, so she was very upset. So. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, bummer. Well, I'm sorry. Well, thank you for asking your cool questions. I would say like Tower of Power is my favorite. Like What Is Hip? Only So Much Will on the Ground. You're Still a Young Man. I don't even know if those are the right titles, but those are the main lyrics that I'm remembering right now. But yeah, main instruments are French horn and djembe too. I made my djembe in Cape Town, South Africa with my teacher Dizu.
Cool. Well, before we go on to this last one, we also had a like from Ryan Massimino.
Ryan's my cousin.
All your people. That's good.
Yes. What's up, cuz?
Okay. Let's see. Let's ask from ARC54. I've heard you're described as the motivational mind wizard. I tend to agree. But what do you think of that title?
I'm glad you agree. As my teacher said, sell the sizzle. That's what it is. That's really. I'm not a mind wizard. I'm a person. I'm not. I'm no more powerful than any other person on this planet. But that's how I sell what I can do with my show. That's what that is.
That's what that is. Well, I'm just. Marcia, did you have a final question?
There is just a kind of a comment too. I watched your one of your reels on YouTube where partly you did an old man with the snake in Florida. Do you remember that?
Of course,
That was hilarious. Now, and so you how did you develop that? And that was really fun and possible of use to you later on.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you for looking that up. That was made years ago. I just got with my friend Salima in New York, and she got a nice camera. Like, actually, wait, maybe it was I don't remember. We had a nice camera that we just had acquired, and we just went outside our apartment, and she's like, just improvise something. And that's what I did. I was like completely spur of the moment. I pretending like I was prank calling people and really enjoying it. Like, yeah, it was just. But I'm really glad you enjoyed it. I had a great time making that.
Thank you.
That is so wild. I'm going to ask one last thing. How long were you in South Africa?
About 6 months I lived there in Cape Town. And then I traveled on the coast of the continent for like 3 months after that.
My main co-host for our music is from Cape Town. And he's still.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he's a musician. So he helps me with all the music people that we have on. So
Cape Town, I think, is my favorite city in the world.
Cool. Yeah. He keeps wanting me to come and visit him, and I got to do it. I got to do it.
Yeah, you're not going to regret it. I think you're going to want to stay when you get there.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. So
it's I think the most beautiful city in the world. I think, but
I'll tell him you said so when I talk to him.
Please, yeah. Oh my God, I could talk about it forever. It is surrounded by and surrounding different national parks. You're seeing the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean collide. The wildlife is unparalleled. Like it's there's like baboons that wreak havoc in people's houses and cars. There's so many stories from people there about like different animal interactions.
Animal attacks on vehicles.
Say what?
Animal attacks on vehicles, I said.
Yeah. A friend of mine, like a baboon got into her car, and they're like shooing it away, and then like it's a common occurrence. Not that common, but common enough that
common enough that you you say, we just had that last week,
Right.
Yeah. Oh, well.
There was
But,
the last thing I could say about a baboon is there was one time I was at a wine tasting with friends. This is when I just was able to start drinking. I was still under 21, but I was legal in Cape Town to drink. So we did a wine tasting. I was on my like 9th glass of wine or whatever. I was like, oh God, I'm having a great time. Go off into like the absolute wilderness outside of this place in the Cedarburg Mountains in South Africa. It's about 2 hours north of Cape Town, where rooibos tea is made. Beautiful place, beautiful rock formations everywhere. I get separated from my friends. I'm walking around just totally enamored with the nature there. And then I look to my left and I see this cave there, and it says leopard preservation area.
Ooh!
Oh, I need to get out of here. So I look back and I get up on the high ground to see where I am, because I'm lost. Like, I shouldn't have been doing what I did with 9 glasses of wine in me. And I get up to the top of this rock. I'm like, hello, like, and I see somebody. I'm like, hello, hello, hello. And they look at me, and I can only see their silhouette because the sun's behind them. I'm like, it's me, it's Evan. And all of a sudden, this person gets down on all fours, and they have a long tail, and they start walking towards me. It's like, that's a baboon.
You just told the baboon to come over, and your name is Evan, so he knows who you are.
Yeah, and baboons are strong. They rip off your fingers. Like, they're not cute. You know, they're pretty aggressive sometimes. So and then my friends set off the car alarm so I could find them, and that's how I found them. But,
oh my goodness!
That's the friend that I visit in Northern California too.
Oh, there you go. Oh my, that is such a crazy story. Well, on that note, I'm going to say that, Evan, so glad you came on with us.
Yeah.
If you'd ever like to entertain us anymore, please let me know.
I'd love to. This was fun.
We'd love to have you. Marsha would love to have you. And
thank you.
Elizabeth would love to be around when she can ask you some other questions. You know, when she's available too. Yeah, but so I'm going to say goodbye and thank everyone for coming, and see you next time, everyone. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thank you all.